in order to be able to ask questions, to hear questions if people do ask questions in Spanish or Chinese, and it's translated back into English. What you will need to do is to select the right channel. So if you do want to, in order to be able to, if you want to hear the talk in English, then please do select the English channel. If you want to hear the talk in Chinese, select the talk in Chinese. And lastly, if you want to hear the talk in translated into Spanish, then select the Spanish channel. Ursula, would you like to say that? You are muted, Ursula.
Thank you, Eric. So, bueno, buenos días, disculpen por la demora, tuvimos un problema técnico con las traducciones, pero ya estamos con traducción simultánea de inglés a chino mandarín y de inglés a español, para que cada uno pueda seleccionar el idioma que quiere oír las charlas. Les pedimos que seleccionen en el icono del globo, en la barra de menú, el idioma correspondiente, ¿ya? Incluso si ustedes prefieren escuchar la charla en inglés, les aconsejamos que seleccionen inglés para que puedan escuchar también las preguntas en español y en chino, ¿ok? Así que muchas gracias nuevamente, seleccionen su idioma y comenzamos dándole la palabra a Liv.
Just one more thing, Ursula. We need to say that also the same thing in Chinese. It is okay. So Liu, would you mind just say this in Chinese for people to select the right translation channel, please? Liu?
Hi, I'm here.
Yep.
OK，那个我们本场讲座是配有中文同意那个频道的，如果有需要的话，可以在下面这一栏更多里面选择中文频道。然后本场讲座是由奥斯陆城市大学和山东工艺美术学院共同主办。好，那么接下来交给Eric，I'm finished.
Thank you so much. So the screen is I'm giving to Liv Nelson.
Okay.
The screen is yours.
Yes, thank you, Eric. Now, welcome to this event arranged by the Design Literacy International Network. Today's event is number 36 in the series, where we invite designers and researchers from all over the world to share their ideas. Today we have invited Professor Astrid Skjerven from Oslo Metropolitan University to present her research. A warm welcome to you, Astrid. Professor Skjerven's field of research is culture and sustainability, everyday aesthetics, Nordic design in a global perspective, and design theory. And recently, this book was published by Routledge. It's titled Mediating Sustainability in the Consumer Society, where Astrid has been co-editor. And chapters in this book have a focus on greenwashing, often through advertising. And Professor Skjerven's presentation today is built upon her chapter in this book titled Creating Sustainability by Myth-Making, IKEA's Advertising Campaigns, the Trash Collection, and the Life Collection. And we regard dissemination of research as important for the ability to make wise decisions, both for professionals and in everyday life. Wise decisions are of great importance if we want to move the world in a direction of a better and greener tomorrow. And this goes for both designers, producers, and consumers. And as you said, Eric, all presentations will be simultaneously translated into Spanish and Chinese, and we thank the institutions for helping us with this. So, after Professor Skjerven's presentation, we open up for comments and questions, and Erik Bohemia will chair that part. So Astrid, please share your ideas with us. The screen is yours, and I will help Astrid.
And Leaf, you need to switch off your microphone.
It's switched off.
No, it's another.
How is it now? That's okay. Okay now?
Okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me without an echo?
Yes.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm honored, delighted, and happy to be able to share my contribution with scholars from all over the world. As you can see, my title has a question mark in the end, meaning that I really want a discussion on this quite difficult but also very relevant topic afterwards. So the title is Creating Sustainability by Myth-Making, ? IKEA Norway's advertising campaigns, the trash collection and the life collection. If you have questions or queries afterwards, you'll find my email address at the bottom of the title page. So please don't hesitate to contact me afterwards if there are details or anything. One evening in 2021, I was sitting on my sofa in the evening, reading a glossy newspaper weekend magazine, just to relax. But then I was completely stupefied by an advertisement. This one, the trash collection. I was just set out of my mind by it. I was struck. I couldn't think of anything else, and I thought it made such a big impression on me. And I thought, how come? What is this? So I immediately started to think that I wanted to investigate this matter. What is it? And that's the result that I'm going to present for you today. First of all, I suppose you all know IKEA. It's a worldwide company. It's one of the biggest producers of furniture in the world, and it's got warehouses spread all over the world, in all parts of the world actually. And so I suppose you know it from before. Maybe you have some IKEA objects in your own home. IKEA is originally a Swedish firm established in 1943 by one person, Ingvar Kamprad. Its success has been since the start been based on offering products at low prices, easily available, very low prices. And it's selling. At the same time, it's infamous for its contribution to use and throw away, meaning that we buy cheap things, have them for a short time and throw them away, meaning that it's a burden for the planet. And also, IKEA is a significant contributor to our lifestyle, as it offers objects we can surround us with in our homes. At the same time, it's a mirror of our lifestyle, because IKEA is very swift on trends, how we really want to live our lives, and new trends, and picking up very soon. As we all know, we're living in a capitalistic society, and the company's existence are based, and so is IKEA's, being based on economic growth, meaning that the turnover needs to expand each year, meaning that the consumption will also expand. But at the same time, IKEA was one of the very first international firms who integrated the UN Sustainability Goals in its strategy. That happened immediately after the goals were launched in 2016, meaning they had an awareness of the situation and were wanting to plan on a long-term basis. So, what did they do? I'm now speaking of IKEA, the national branch of Norway, of IKEA. This is a catalogue taken from the website. They produce yearly catalogues, previously on paper, now online. And this I found on the internet. It's from 2016, so it's some years ago. But you can see this from this front page, how they're picking up the lifestyle of a family. And the current lifestyle, it's a papa, it's not a mother, it's a father who's taking care of a child, a nice boy child, in a kitchen that's totally equipped with IKEA objects. And they're living a very happy life, having very good contact between each other. And the text is in Swedish. Ta vara på ögonblicken, meaning take care of the small moments. So that's the kind of IKEA in a nutshell in 2016, picking up a current lifestyle. So what about these goals? IKEA had to do something with these sustainability goals. How should it handle it? It was in the strategy. What should they do? Well, in about 2020, they hired a new advertising company, the biggest and the most famous one in Norway, called Tri, to be to take care of all their marketing. So they set up a plan, and the plan was then to make an advertising that was marketing the strategy of IKEA. And that was called the Trash Collection and was launched in 2021. It was launched in as advertising campaigns in glossy magazines like I saw, and you could see this advertisement in the movies, before the movies, then as films with sounds and soundtracks from very well-known pop hits. So what was this about? Well, as you can see here, you see worn down, or used to be worn down chair from IKEA that was found in a container, just thrown away in very bad condition. So they picked it up, mended it, painted it, put it in front of the container where it was found, photographed it, filmed it, and advertised it, selling this unique piece for 99 kroner. That's, well, about $5 or something, almost nothing. So you could buy it in a store, a part of the warehouses of IKEA. So it's a kind of brutal and still kind of a very catchy campaign, and beautiful at the same time, almost like a graffiti. Well, this trash collection was part of a campaign, a bigger campaign, which displayed objects found in garbage containers, etc., just thrown away everywhere, as we do. We throw away things when we don't like them, or they go to pieces when they are so cheap as the IKEA pieces are. They had been repaired and were now offered at extremely low prices. It invited the customers to change habits to the benefit of a sustainable consumption and lifestyle by offering used and mended products, reuse, that is. At the same time, the customers could buy the products in small outlets, departments, out of warehouses, and they had to walk through those warehouses with all the departments with the departments of new objects, also quite cheap. So they were at the same time tempted to buy new products in the other departments at these huge stores. And the products constituted a microscopic part of the company's range of products. So there's a kind of duality or ambiguousness in this thing. This campaign was a great success. They measured how people were struck at it. It was really, people got turned on in it, and it was also kind of exported to other countries, similar products, and the advertising company got lots of prizes for it, awards for it at Cannes and everywhere. So it was a big thing. So, and IKEA won some very good marks on sustainability firms, which there are also measures of international firms of their grade of sustainability, and IKEA got very high marks. So they continued the success with another campaign. It was called the Life Collection. And this is part of it, just one. It was a huge series, just the same. And you can find it in the movies, in the magazines, etc., etc. But it was still different, as it's called the Life Collection. It appealed to various stages of life, like of family life, like death, divorce, having children, etc. Very intimate family situations that appeal to feelings. This one is called the Dödsfall collection, meaning the death collection. And what you can see here are a set of chairs used by a grandpapa or something who had now deceased. So there was nobody there to use the chairs. And you can see even this piece of cloth on the table, the green plant, is just as we can suppose it was just like it used to be when Grandpapa lived. And these pieces were not worn down, but they weren't used, so they were picked up by IKEA and sold at very low prices in the department stores. So this campaign was similar, but still quite different. It was a follow-up, surely, but of different kinds of objects, could be purchased in the same way. The campaign as such was not as shocking as trash, but it rather appealed to intimate family feelings related to family relations, which we're very sensitive about family relations, aren't we, all of us? So it was also strong in another way. So, to my analysis of it, the narrative. These are narratives. We are told stories that engage us. And the campaigns primarily appeal to the feelings and personal engagements of the recipients. That means us, customers, everyone, people, everyone. And to the feelings, not that much to the intellect. Just goes directly into our hearts and our stomachs. And the recipients were invited into a narrative sphere that I think it can compare to a myth. I'm sure you all know the myths and have that in your own cultures, very, very old, antiquity and even older. And we're used to it as ancient stories, but actually there's a modern kind of myth is also existing, which the French philosopher Roland Barthes has pointed to in his book in 1957. It's a seminal book, and it's still available. I should absolutely read it. According to Roland Barthes, IKEA is a myth maker, the making of stories. And we, the customers, the recipients, people, everyone who looks at these narratives, we are the myth receivers. And we are told stories by IKEA, the myth maker, but we're inside it. The ending of the story is changeable. Like it is in myths, they change all the time. And actually, we as customers, as receivers, recipients, are able to change the ending of the story according to how we behave as regard purchasing. Either we can purchase something, we can stay away from purchasing, we can buy used, or we can buy new objects, cheap objects, IKEA objects, of course, or other objects. So it points to the fact of the power of the customer. The campaigns demonstrate the shared interest between the company and the customers. That's an important point. The shared interest is the creation of a more sustainable consumption and lifestyle. Well, new question, greenwashing or joining forces? As I like to interpret this and sum it up, the campaigns communicated narratives that provoked the recipients, engaged us to feel, reflect, and act in a more sustainable way. On the other hand, the narratives were commercialized in a way that benefited the company. And this can rightfully be called greenwashing. We should all agree upon that. But still, these stories or myths displayed a shared dilemma between the company and the customers. Transference to a more sustainable development is a matter of survival for IKEA, for us, and for the planet. The campaigns constituted an offer to live a happy life surrounded by IKEA objects within the framework of the UN sustainability goals. At the same time, it displayed the conflict between the wished reality of the narratives of the myths and the factual reality. That is obvious, two different things, the wished and the factual. And this difference was not communicated by IKEA to its recipients. But still, the campaigns represent an incitement to join forces, as I interpret it, in order to create a more sustainable development, or else there won't be any development or anything. So that is how I interpret this, but surely there can be made many interpretations into this, but at least it raises several questions, and that's, I think IKEA has done a job in making us aware of things and making us and other companies aware of what we are facing, every one of us. So that's my contribution, and now I open up for questions, comments, bombardments, criticism, whatever. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you, Astrid. I think there's already a question from there's a question here from Francesco. Francesco, would you like to come in?
Thanks so much, and sorry because in 5 minutes I had to leave. The question is in the chat. I don't know if you want that I repeat the chat. First of all, thanks so much. Always great.
No, just say it, Francesco.
Okay, simple and easy. It's really nice the idea to use in design case studies or discourses the idea of mythos, the myth. But following the etymology, the myth is always a story told by gods, semi-gods, hero, and monster. And the question is, based on this etymology, IKEA, for you, it's a god, it's a monster, or it's an hero? And if you select one of these, which characteristic IKEA has? And secondary, following my experience in South American market, we have also Ursula. Can you listen, Astrid?
Now I can, but I can't. I didn't hear what you said. You have to repeat.
No problem. No problem. Simple and easy. Very well. Super. Thanks so much. The idea to use the mytho, the myths, because you present the idea of mythos. But the question is, following the etymological meaning of mythos from the Greek, it's a narrative, it's a story, it's a propaganda told by gods, semi-gods, hero, and monster. And the question is, following your experience, IKEA, it's a monster, it's a god, or it's an hero? And which characteristic you define? And second, in order to implement the question, following my experience about South America, Ursula and other friends from South America, when IKEA entered in South America 2 or 3 years ago, for my perception, they destroy or they hit the market. What does it mean? A lot of creative studio, designer, they survive producing a small, medium quality through the insert of IKEA. IKEA destroy completely the market for them because you have a better quality, better price, and good material. That is my question. Thanks so much for all of you.
Should I answer now? Okay. Well, so you put up 2 questions, quite different. First one, the mythos. What is interesting with the myths is from the beginning, whatever you call them, there are kind of meta-truths, and they have these gods, or whatever you call them, have so many similarities with human beings, so many faults, and so many feelings, and so many desires. So we can compare, and we can compare, but still it's something else. We get a little distance, so we can see things when we can compare and create a distance. That's what I'm up to. To be short, you need to read the full article to get it all. But that's the point. We are in a kind of meta-truth that is constantly changing by our desires and things that happen. Secondly, IKEA has destroyed so extremely many things during its history from 1943, and I'm not focusing on that in this part, because IKEA has a very complex story and has had influence in so many ways. So I'm focusing only on this, the sustainability goals and how to handle it, and put it up in a narrative. That means that we can have some perspectives on it and be part of it at the same time. But of course, one is a myth maker and one is a myth receiver. We should never forget about that. I hope that was kind of a convincing.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Francesco. All the best with your class. And Astrid, there's another question from Eva. Eva, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, I can do that. Thank you very much, Astrid. I grew up receiving the IKEA catalog in the mailbox as a child, and I can very well attend to all this, the myth making and creating the stories. And I was kind of dreaming my way into adult life by looking into that catalogs. My question is, what is the turning point for the campaign not being greenwashing? So what would it take for IKEA to really do good stuff, not just pretending to do good stuff while it's just continuous as business as usual? Is it like I'm now looking at a picture of this secondhand shop at my screen from IKEA, and it's a tiny part and only a small percent. So can you reflect on it? What does it take?
It takes a lot, and it's dependent on so many things. It's dependent on economy, economic policy, or politics, and it is dependent on how we all behave. And that's what's interesting about this campaign, that it displays the dilemma and it actually displays what's at stake for us. So what it does is that it displays the dilemma, and meaning that it's an incitement to work on that dilemma. And that will take time, and we have to work both on a political level, on an economic level, and on a lifestyle level, and on a production consuming level, of course. So that's a huge question, but at least it's visualized. And it's not only visualized, but it has engaged our feelings. And we cannot get rid of our feelings like we can fairly easily get rid of our intellect, maybe. But the feelings are there. See my point? Okay. I think that's the best I can do.
Eva, thank you for the question. Astrid, how does what you describe, how would that then translate into educating designers? And because designers would have been involved in that campaign, and you've provided analysis from kind of cultural perspective, and dissected it in some, in many different ways. The question for me is, however, now, how does this relate to design education and, future designers? What sort of skills do they need to have in order to tackle the issues you have just expressed?
Yeah, well, that's quite a complicated question, but at least it's concrete. Well, I'd like to start with literacy. We all need literacy on it, either we're designers or not. So that's Eva's department, so to speak, the literacy. But for design education, what I find, in my experience, is that design students are very keen on sustainability and creating sustainability by their work. But they are often idealistic and they're depending on getting work, earning money to support their families, etc., etc. So that's also, what should one do with that? But anyway, competence is important to know how to handle what creates sustainability and what does not, and how to communicate it and collaborate and kind of be able to cooperate with contractors who might not be have the same, well, they don't have the same interests always, but at least one can kind of twist around if you have the competence and the means to communicate them and the means to cooperate. Meaning also that a designer has to have knowledge about sustainability, but also about working interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary to be able to do something with the situation.
Thank you so much for the answer. But at the same time, I think your talk actually suggests that designers had all these skills because they're very cunning, the way they've been able to complete and execute the campaign, and they got many awards for it. So they had all these skills, and they've been able to sell the myths of the greenwashing. Last questions from Birgit. Would you like to ask your question, Birgit?
Okay, dumpster driving is usually for free. So what kind of arguments does IKEA have for taking a price for the products? And also, thank you. It was highly interesting talk, Astrid. So
what kind of price is it? Is the price of the objects?
Yeah, is it just covering some repair costs, or is it actually a profit calculated into the price?
No, it's just prices are always set just to attract the consumer. So 99 kroner, that's 1 kroner less than 100 kroner, and that means that it is cheap, and it's probably about 50 or 100 kroner cheaper than a new chair. So that's how the price is set.
Yeah, but is it covering costs that they have to?
Oh, no, not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
Much higher. I haven't got any figures on it, but I'm quite sure to mend the chair costs a lot, and to paint it, new painting, and all that. So that the price is just set to attract the customer.
I guess it's like a confectionery. If you go to a supermarket and they have a specials, you come in, you want only to get a milk or a bread, and then you come with a whole basket of other stuff you never wanted to get. That was a really good question, Birgit. Benjamin has a question. Benjamin, would you like to come in and ask your question?
Yes, I can do that. Okay, I think it's interesting that IKEA has, to my knowledge, no advertising campaign, making you aware that they actually offer free spare parts, like smaller spare parts, screws, or anything like this, at their shops, which would actually be something contributing to sustainability. And they do not seem to, do some advertising for that. How do you think that fits into the picture, or doesn't it? Thank you.
Well, it's a good offer, but it's still a very small offer. And you have to look for it. And you have to be able to be, I mean, there are so many parts, even if IKEA is using a lot of standard parts, they're putting things together by the same kind of elements, but still there are many elements, and you should be very lucky to get to the right element to repair your chair or your product. So it's a good offer, but it's a minor offer in the big picture.
Absolutely, and you have to be at the shop to be aware of that. So yeah, it's yeah. Thank you.
But the way of thinking is good. It's just that it's a microscopic part of the picture.
Benjamin, thank you so much. Yeah, and I mean that's very much so the case. There's lots of personal experiences we have, and how do you deal with all these different issues and sustainability. I was just reading very recently. I think there was an article in New York Times about Carpathian Mountains, and they were suggesting that there's lots of logging, which is illegal logging around Romania, and it's happening now and across the borders of Moldova, which lots of all these trees goes to IKEA for production. So lots of these mountains are supposed to have a native forest, but they're all being logged out illegally. And yeah, is it the problem of IKEA, or is it the problem of the states who are not looking after the forest properly? I think we need to have you again in the future, Astrid, and to discuss this a little bit further, because you have more articles written on this topic, and it would be good to know, maybe to touch on a little bit more, how do we translate this into education of designers who can deal with these complex issues. So again, thank you so much for your talk today. And I hope everybody has enjoyed this. Ursula, would you like to introduce the next month talk, please?
Claro, por supuesto. Quedan todos invitados a la charla de Mariana Salgado el día 8 de abril. Mariana es una diseñadora argentina que vive en Finlandia y ha estado involucrada en el diseño de políticas públicas, aportando desde el diseño de servicios. Además, Mariana tiene un podcast llamado Diseño y Diáspora, donde entrevista a diseñadores latinoamericanos que están repartidos por el mundo. Así que quedan todos muy invitados a la charla de Mariana Salgado el próximo 8 de abril. Vamos a poner los datos aquí. Eric, si tú pudieras poner el link para que se puedan... Ahí está.
Done.
Done. Perfecto. Salgado. Este sería el 8 de abril, a la misma hora.
And just a reminder, if you would like to get in touch with Astrid, there's an email of Astrid in a chat. Otherwise, do email to any of us, and we'll be able to pass an email on. And the book is available from Routledge and has many different chapters. Show us the cover, please. Hold on. We'll make you pin you. Hold on. So it's called, hold it. So it's called Mediating Sustainability in a Consumer Society. It's an edited book. So you say, how many chapters are there, Astrid? As an editor, that was a tricky question for editor. Yeah, and you mute it.
There are 11 chapters, all related to this topic, and written by scholars from several parts of the world. So I do recommend it.
Thank you so much. So again, thank you for everybody for joining us, and Our apologies for the little delay with the technical issues. Really good questions from everyone. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next month on 8th of April. So thank you for having us, and everybody else, good night, good morning, or good afternoon, whenever you are. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Astrid.